Hey guys, welcome to Season in Review. This is our last season before All Stars. We have Pearl Islands. Today I have quite a few people with me. I have the winner of Pearl Islands, Joey, the runner-up, SMM, and two very notable players of Lee and Dan. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Sure. Hey guys, I'm Joey. I'm like obviously the coolest person on the season. You already know.
Very
That
obviously.
that Dan guy, nothing on me. Nothing on me.
Ha, ha.
Nothing on you?
Yeah,
What's
no.
up, guys? It's Dan Man with the master plan. Fourth place, Pearl Islands. Lost to the eventual winner, Joey, in a fire making challenge. But
Okay.
blindsided Lee.
You did blindside Lee. That brings us to Lee.
Man, that was going to be my fun fact that I was blindsided by you. Hi, I'm Lee. I got 6th place, and I blindsided Dan in our last org, and then he blindsided me. So that was
That sounds like a
very
really
nice
cute
conclusion.
relationship.
All comes full circle eventually.
I love that.
SMM is having mic problems, so I think we should give him a few seconds. We can keep on going, but like
Right, we can do the starting bit. So SMM was the runner up. He actually got voted out, came back, and still made it to the final tribal council. So we have a very solid group of players with us today.
Mhm.
We'll start at the beginning. You get dropped off, you're on your tribes. Joey, what tribe were you on?
I was on the Drake tribe because of my iconic Drake profile picture.
Because of your iconic Drake profile picture, I cannot confirm or deny if that's the reason, but it was the reason. Dan and Lee, how about you? What tribe were you guys on?
We were on the Morgan tribe.
Morgan.
So we'll start with the Morgan tribe since they have a lot less to say pre-merge. What did you guys think of your tribe? First thoughts and the first few votes, because you didn't really have votes. The first few days, what were you thinking of your tribe, alliances? Where were your heads at?
I could start us off. Coming in, my game, I like to connect socially, try and connect with everybody socially. And right off the bat, it seemed that a lot of the players on Morgan weren't all too active. So I ended up just talking a lot to Lee. And Lee is someone I've played with previously. I played with her in Yankee and Jarrett's Survivor Oregon, Survivor Charleston, where we were allies, and she blindsided me. Coming in, there was like a little nervousness working with her. I didn't know if it would go over smoothly because I know she did blindside me, but we reconnected really quickly. We got on the same page, and we made a alliance with Yugi and Dirk right off the bat. But other than that, it was just hard to connect with a lot of the Morgans because, like I said, they weren't the most active bunch, and a lot of them were a lot younger than me, so it was a little hard to connect with them on certain things.
Okay, that's fair. Lee, how about you? What were you thinking when this all first started?
Yeah, I felt kind of similarly. I did have a harder time connecting with people just because they weren't as active, but I did find out that like half of our tribe, more than half of our tribe, was really into musicals. So we talked quite a bit about musicals of all things.
Okay.
That's what we were doing while y'all were at tribal council. We were all like, "So what do you discuss in Hamilton?" Yeah, I remember being really put off by T's original name. I
Well,
was
can you say the name, please?
Mr. Sex.
Mr. Sex, right? Mr. Sex is an icon.
Yes. I was scared and I asked Dan to talk to him first because I was like, what if he's like this
She did.
30-year-old creep?
No, so
she
he
did.
actually put it on the application as a joke because he didn't think we'd actually, like, when we cast him, keep it as Mr. Tea Leaf, but we all thought it was pretty funny, so we're like, yep, that's Mr. Sex.
I remember he was freaking out when he finally came online after the marooning. He's like, "Oh my god, no,
Yep.
like this is not my
He
name."
didn't even say hi. He didn't even say hi to me. He was just like, "Oh my god, this wasn't supposed to be my name."
Yep.
Well, he was concerned, like what we said, because he's like, oh my god, people are gonna think I'm like this 12-year-old kid named Mr. Sex, or like this 40-year-old dude. Like, please change it. So we had to change it eventually to Tea Leaf.
Uh-huh.
So who were the members of your tribe? You had Lee, Dan, Tea Leaf. Who else was on it?
We had
Dirk, Yugi,
Miles, Noah.
and Noah.
Yeah.
And Noah. Awesome. Okay. So that brings us to the Drake tribe. Joey, what were you thinking when you guys first got marooned? You guys got your tribes.
It started like right at the end of my lunch break for work, so I was like the worst possible timing for me. So I told my tribe, I'm gonna be really inactive for the first while. I'm gonna be at work. They were chill with it. I still try to get connections in. The person I connected to most in the beginning, because I had some connections going into this game, it was Thomas. He hosted the first org that I ever won. I played his org 3 times, and then
Did you win on 3?
No, I won the
No.
first
Okay.
one, and I came 10th and 13th because
Okay. I got you.
But so yeah, I connected with Thomas the most immediately. And then this is gonna sound funny, but then I connected the most with Sylvia and DJ. No. Dino. Sorry, yeah, Dino and Sylvia are the two I connected to most originally. And literally within that first day, Sylvia begins to form an alliance with me, her, Dino, Thomas, and SMM. And like at the time, I didn't know who SMM was because I barely talked to him. So it was like, I'm cool with it, but I don't know who this guy is.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. SMM, are you back yet?
I'm back. Yeah, I'm back.
So what did you think of this initial? What did you think of getting put on the Drake tribe? Everyone there.
I was like confident, like, dang, we're gonna win every single challenge. We're gonna have fun.
Oh.
I didn't really know anyone. I didn't know. But I think I connected with Dino and Thomas the most through Dinosaur Nuggets, and that's how I made my first alliance with Dino and Thomas. I
Okay.
also talked to Sylvia a little bit. Joey, I didn't really talk to it much. Slipknot, kind of inactive, but he's a cool guy. And I didn't talk to DJ very much either.
Okay. That brings us into something that SMM said. SMM was very confident in his confessionals that his tribe would rock these challenges, that they'd be really good, pretty much just coast until merge, which was not the case. Morgan
No,
lost
not
a
at
lot of
all.
challenges, all except for one.
Morgan lost?
Sorry, Drake lost. Morgan won.
We won a lot.
Morgan did win a lot. So first
We won a
challenge, do you
lot.
guys remember what the first challenge was?
Yep, it was finding items for the lowest price.
Right,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Morgan had a really good. Morgan read into it a little bit more, and you guys ended up winning because you had a few items that were priced at $0, so free,
Yeah.
I
which
think
is still a
all but
price.
2 of our items were free.
I'm
I
not
think
even
that's
joking.
debatable, Leafy. I think that's debatable.
Me and SMM were the only people who were trying for that challenge in our team. Do you remember? Like we were on voice talking about it.
I remember I was in your voice
Yeah.
chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
got like so many things priced for $0.01 and stuff, and then
it's a little too expensive compared to what Morgan found, unfortunately.
Free 99, baby. Free 99.
Which leads us to our first tribal council for Drake. This was a unanimous vote against Slipknot, with Slipknot voting Thomas. What happened here?
Yeah, so I didn't want to really rock the vote too much, the boat too much at this original vote. So I just tell Sylvia, you pick a name. It's either like one of the 3 people not in our 5-person alliance. I'm cool with it. And then she's like, Slipknot seems pretty inactive. Let's just go him. Tell him to vote Thomas. I'm like, I'm cool with that. I liked Slipknot, but he was hosting something at the first day, and this org is on like crack, so it goes like a cycle every single day.
Right.
You miss the first day, you're gonna be gone.
Right.
So yeah, I was cool with voting him.
Okay, and that's a great point I want to bring up. Going into All-Stars and probably for future seasons, we're moving to what most other orgs do, which is a 24-hour time frame for both the challenge and the vote, as opposed to just, like Joey was saying, 12 hours to wake up, talk, do the challenge, then vote immediately. It should be helpful, especially because people are in more diverse time zones. I do believe, though, that Drake was all pretty much in the same, except for DJ.
Yeah, except for DJ.
Except for our Australian DJ.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so episode 2, Morgan again wins immunity, which is going to be a very common theme. Do you guys remember the challenge?
Was this Battleship?
This was Battleship.
Oh my god, dude!
Dude, that was so bad. That was me and Sylvia. We were in the voice chat together, and
Yep,
we were
and I was
trying
in the
our
voice chat
hardest.
with
We
you.
had like a strategy, and we were not hitting anything. It was
Dude, we had this
Some of
strategy. We were gonna go 4 corners, and then they got one of our corners, like luckily, and just destroyed that. And it was like, oh my god, it was embarrassing.
I will say I was in that voice call with SMM and Sylvia, and every single round they were so confident. They're like, "We're gonna hit something this round," and I think the final score was they hit 1 chip out of the 5.
Yep.
Yep.
yeah.
Hey, at least you got 1, right?
We got that one. I was making a joke. It was like, okay, we got this one. It's gonna be. It was like 5-1, and it was 4-1. I was like, boom, come back right here. Next four. I had no confidence though.
I
At the
mean, that
vote,
makes total sense. And the vote we go into here actually isn't a vote.
there was some stuff behind it though,
There was some stuff behind it. Do you guys want to talk about that?
because like she
Um,
didn't quit like immediately. Like we still had like vote discussion.
Right. So what was? We won't talk about her quitting that much, but what was the stuff that was happening before that ended up happening? So like, was there vote discussion?
Deli wasn't even the target.
Who was the target?
I believe. Was it Sylvia? I think we were
I don't
trying
think
to.
it was Sylvia at that point.
I know we were in talks of like trying to
By
flip on,
Sylvia.
but
So you were in talks of Sylvia potentially vote. Who else would have been the vote?
I was kind of thinking DJ too,
DJ. Is there a reason that it was DJ?
because he was not in the 5. There were only 2 people not in the 5 at that time.
Gotcha. So just DJ and Sylvia were unfortunately on the outs because that's just how it had to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
that makes sense.
Sylvia was actually on the top of the tribe at one point.
I do remember that.
Yeah, it was not until SMM came to me that changed.
She was very bold, and we compared notes.
Very bold, and you compared notes. What didn't match up when you compared notes?
Oh, she told us all like the same thing that she's gonna take us both to F2. She told us to
That's a
not just
great
me and
deal.
Joey, to a few other people as well. And I brought it up to Joey because I'm like, this seems like. Brought it up with Joey. Same thing was happening to Joey. I think the DJ as well. So, and I told Dino and Thomas about it, and we all just voted Sylvia out.
Okay, that
Called
leads
me
us
a freak.
perfectly. She did call you a freak, which leads us perfectly into this next episode 3. Again, Morgan decides to dominate the immunity challenge. Nothing
Boring.
special, of course. Do we remember what this one is?
I don't.
I forget. Wait, was it the
yeah.
one with like the trivia? Never mind.
It wasn't trivia quite yet, but I also forget what episode challenge this was, so we're gonna conveniently skip that.
Oh wait, hold up.
Yeah.
Hold up. Was it the riddles, right? It was the riddles.
We'll
Yes.
go with that. Riddles.
It was the riddles. That
So
one
what
was-
were the riddles that you're thinking of?
Fuck the second riddle. That's all I'll say.
Oh wait,
So-
with the ripped up paper.
Yeah, with the
Paper,
ripped
right?
up homework. Fuck that riddle. I spent
Right.
like
So this is the challenge. This is one of the challenges that I made. Those were
Oh,
riddles from a kids game called Professor Layton, but I slightly changed each of them so that way you couldn't just like Google the game and find it. But
I can
those
do
are
that.
all from like a kids game, like that kind of concept. But yeah,
Mhm.
I love those riddles, and I thought you guys would too, and I'm glad that you liked them so much.
Yeah, thanks for making us feel like morons.
Hey,
Oh,
that's my
even
job.
Like I literally just like went through the numbers. I was doing command 1, command 2, command 3 for every single one that I possibly could until it just got it.
Oh, I felt like such an idiot when I realized that, because I was like, for the first one, I was trying to solve it. I was like, I could have done this in half the time if I had just done like 10,
Brute forced it.
20, 30,
Yeah,
40.
That's what I didn't do it on the second one because I thought it'd be like a number in like the 100s or whatever.
Right.
So
Mhm.
Okay,
Right.
so Morgan again blows out Drake out of the water,
that was
Pretty
fun.
Common
convincing.
occurrence.
which led to the vote which SMM talked about. Sylvia goes home in a 5-1, and SMM gets a vote from Sylvia. And what was written on that vote, SMM?
freak, something about I need to lie better or something like that.
How did this make you feel? Where did this come from her?
Probably because she probably figured out that I'm the one who brought it all together, put the 2 puzzle pieces together,
Do you want
and
to
told
talk
everyone else.
about SMM? Do you want to talk about the voice?
Voice chat. Oh yeah, so she asked me initially. I'm not sure about Joey, but she asked me, "Hey SMM, can we get into a voice chat?" And she starts like interviewing me. Oh, there's another word for it. Interrogating. She starts interrogating me, Joey, and it was just hardcore. And I
And then I joined.
don't think I
later.
lied for any of the questions either.
And then she later she gets me on voice and talks about it. I like lie everything, everything, just to get her off me because she's kind of weirding me out, and it's like this is not how you stay in the game if you'd like to. So it just made it more confident in myself that I need to get rid of her next tribal. But SMM definitely is what flipped the vote onto her. Like she would have stayed without it.
Okay. Which meant that was a pretty easy vote at that point when Sylvia, like you said, the notes weren't adding up and she was sort of starting these things.
Yeah.
Okay. After that, episode 4, the challenge was Where's Waldo?
in
Oh,
this one.
That was my favorite challenge.
I'm glad that was your
Wow.
favorite challenge.
It was
Oh,
so
I-
fun.
Does anyone remember how they did? Because there's
Oh.
someone in the call who got the worst time.
Oh, I
It was
did good.
bad.
I
Because
think
I
I got
looked
the
up.
best time.
I
Lee
definitely
did get
got
the
the
best
worst
time.
time.
I did good, but that's
definitely
because
got the worst time.
the names were up there, like the names of the maps. So I just looked up the maps on Google, and like that's kind of how like half of them.
So Lee
Oh, I
ended up
had
getting the best
practiced
time with 2
beforehand.
minutes and 50 and something. Right, Lee, what did you do before pretty much every challenge? I want to make sure people know this because it was impressive.
Oh, I practiced. I don't like to
Right.
do things without practicing them. I just don't in life.
Lee
or
was
at work.
Lee was notorious for that in our first org.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
it.
I had
Every
practice
single day she would
sessions.
ping production and go, "Is it okay if I practice?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." So she'd practice in her confessionals, and I loved it. I love that mentality to it because obviously we're not on an island stranded somewhere, right? You have the
That's why
ability
your
to
tribe
practice.
won. That's why your tribe won all the time. We didn't do any practice.
I mean, it's more than just Lee considering SMM. Do you remember what your time was? SMM's time was 16 minutes compared to Lee's 2 minutes and 50 seconds,
Oof.
which makes it pretty difficult to win either way. No one on Morgan got above 10 minutes, which is impressive. Where 2 people on Drake got above 10 minutes. That leads us into the vote for episode 4. Dinos voted here, and someone was actually kidnapped. Joey, do you remember who was kidnapped?
SMM was.
SMM was kidnapped. Did you, as someone who was on Drake, did you have any idea why he was kidnapped?
He had the worst score, so I thought it was that. I thought that was why. But then he told me it was like a. Wait, is SMM in the call?
I mean,
SMM's back, right? So SMM, why were you chosen to get kidnapped after the Where's Waldo challenge?
I think I was told it's because I had the worst time on Drake. And then I also just scrolled up a little bit, and it was like Pancake bot 50-50 chance between me and Dino.
Okay.
I'm kind of happy it was me who got kidnapped and not Dino. The vote would have been on Dino no matter what happened, unless he got kidnapped.
Right.
So if they picked Dino, it would have been a very split vote, I'd beg to say.
If they picked Dino, we would have went after DJ, right? Because it would have been me, you, Thomas, DJ. Or then you just go, yeah. And then I think DJ would go because the only reason Thomas voted you is because you got kidnapped and helped the other tribe, or like no, talk game with the other tribe. So yeah.
So SMM does manage to get kidnapped, and Dino goes home in a 3-1. Is this pretty cut and dry, like you said, because Dino was the target beforehand?
I'm
Yeah.
not even shitting you. I remember this trouble. We voted in 3 minutes.
I remember this one also. I was on my phone. I'm like, oh, I'll be home in 20 minutes for tribal, and I get home, and May's like, no, we already did it. We're done. We're on episode 5. I'm like, whoa, okay.
White literally voted in the 3 minutes. It was that easy.
Yep.
I forgot why we. I think we chose Dino over DJ because to go for Dino over DJ because DJ was more active in the challenges or whatever.
Also,
And
Dino was really sketchy at that point. Like he
Mhm.
wouldn't talk, and I felt like he was like teaming up with Thomas, the fifth DJ, or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Which meant Dino went home in episode 4, which leads us to episode 5, which is an exciting one for the
Can I
Drake
say
tribe.
one
Go for
quick
it.
thing about episode 4?
Yeah, of course.
I will say that was like I think the first real splinters in Morgan because
What
Miles made a stupid decision.
What did Miles do?
Oh yeah.
Miles told SMM about our alliance, which had never been tested. So, like, do you really? You should not feel comfortable.
It wasn't just
talking about
Miles,
alliances that have
but
never
we can
been
talk about
tested.
that later.
Do what?
So, he said it wasn't just Miles that ended up telling him about the alliance.
Yeah, because I remember when I heard that Miles had disclosed to SMM that myself, Miles, Claw, and Lee were all in an alliance, I just didn't understand that move, and that just really solidified me on going into a merge situation where I just really didn't want to play with the Morgan people at all.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't mind that decision.
I'm sure as merge comes, we'll see how much Joey doesn't mind that decision. But for now, we have a few more votes before merge. Episode 5. Episode 5, Morgan won immunity, and the challenge they won was the word unscramble challenge.
Oh, I did so well. I thought we were gonna win that one. I was so confident.
That was the closest one yet.
This challenge continues the trend of me finding the hacks and challenges because I just used a word unscramble for this.
Are we gonna have to do that?
Yeah.
For future reference.
I mean, the hard part is we don't want you to, but it's like, do we have any way to police you rather than share your screen while you're doing it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is hard because I know that Dan usually did the challenges on his phone because he was at work, and people always have circumstances, so it's difficult to ask for something like that. But we ask that you don't. You know what I mean?
All right. I'll keep that in mind.
So this was the closest challenge yet. And it still wasn't even that close because everyone that competed for Morgan except for T-Leaf got a perfect score. T-Leaf only missed one. DJ and Joey ended up getting a perfect score. SMM missed one, and Thomas got an 11, which sent Drake back to their second home at Tribal Council. What happened here, Joey and SMM? Because this looks to be a crazy one.
Okay. It was supposed to be a clean, just take DJ out. Me, Thomas, Joey. We survived until merge, but no. Thomas flipped on me and Joey and voted DJ because he didn't trust me all that much.
Okay.
I'm sure if Joey has anything else to add about
that. He DMs me. He's like, Joey, I respectfully disagree with your decision about SMM because earlier that day he texted me that he didn't trust SMM gaming with the other tribe and he didn't like his kind of chaotic nature. He thought he was going to drive us to hell, but at that point I was full on the SMM train because he was gaming with the other tribe, but we were going to need that gaming to make it farther in the merge. So I wanted to keep him. I didn't want SMM to go and the Morgan tribe to think, oh, they voted him out. I guess the deal's off. So I'm at work. I'm trying to convince Thomas. I'm like, no. We're going to need him. We're going to need him. And he's borderline set on he would have drawn the rocks, if that was the situation. So he's borderline set on going SMM, and it goes to fire.
It does go to fire, and this is a crazy fire making. So the way we do fire, the way we've done fire in the past, and in the past, I mean for this vote specifically, we'd make sure they're both online and ready to go. And then we'd send them a puzzle. And for this challenge, it was a slide puzzle. SMM, would you like to talk about how fire making went?
Yeah, so me and DJ, we got our fire puzzles. I open up the browser. I start moving a few pieces. I start seeing pings. DJ's already done. I go, oh shoot. I don't know how he did that in 24 seconds. And yeah, that's how it went basically.
It was tough for SMM. DJ murdered this slide puzzle. I mean, it wasn't close. And I don't mean that in a rude way, just DJ killed it.
Yeah, I started telling Joey to make sure this is what you do in merge, because I wanted to set Joey up for merge. And
right.
Make sure you talk to Miles, do all this stuff. I think I may have told the same thing to Thomas, I'm not sure. And yeah, I thought I was getting out there.
Luckily, maybe this is a coincidence, maybe it isn't, but episode 6, the one time that SMM isn't on the Drake tribe, Drake wins immunity.
God damn it.
Episode 6, this was Sunny Day Sky. Do you remember the challenge for this?
Yes, I love this.
Hate this challenge.
So what was the challenge?
I don't know how to explain it. You clicked a mouse for a long time.
Hold on. It was a bear. Let's get the specifics.
Yes, there was a bear with an umbrella.
It was a bear.
And I spent 2.5 hours nonstop doing it, and then I gave up.
You had an admirable score.
Unfortunately,
DJ's entire score beat all of Morgan's. So there's crazy. That. Yeah, so that means the tribe that SMM just left, Drake, had won immunity for the first and spoiler alert only time. Meaning that Morgan was going to its first tribal council. So earlier Lee talked about how your alliance was leaked and it was untested. Now is finally the time to test this alliance. So what was happening in this lead up till tribal, Lee and Dan?
So from my perspective, the second I hit the beach, me and Dirk, at least it was probably one-sided on my part, but I didn't really trust Dirk. I didn't like how forward he was with things. He made an alliance within 20 minutes of landing on Morgan Beach. he really presented himself as the leader of the Morgan tribe. And I really wanted Dirk, but Lee convinced me. We keep him around as a shield. And we did have an alliance with him and Yugi, so if we took Dirk out, that would alienate Yugi. But we also had another alliance with Claw and Miles. So, like, in my opinion, that kind of just left Noah the odd man out. He's probably the most inactive of the bunch, and I kind of feel like that's why it kind of came down to an easy vote of Noah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Lee?
Yeah, it was like that. And though before the vote, Noah did reach out and was like pleading his case and whatever. And then I asked him how often he was going to be on. Like, is he online and just an invisible? And he was like, "Oh, I'm never online."
Yep. That's not really the
Like-
best for those that want to play in the future. You really shouldn't tell people in an online game of Survivor that you won't be online much. That doesn't seem like the smartest play, right?
So sad,
Yeah.
Noah, because I
That
know
is the best advice you can take away from this.
like me and Noah talk a lot when like we're actually friends because like just he played Jan season 2 with me and we played Jan's All Stars and I kind of like threw away my game so he can make it far because I knew I wasn't gonna make it far at all. And he went on to get like 1 vote away from winning, so like we've been like really close. Then I heard like SMM told me he was being inactive or something, and I was really sad because then like he was gonna be my main connection on the Drake tribe if not, or the Morgan tribe if not Dan.
Yeah, one
Right.
thing Miles told me was that if there was a tribal on Morgan after I got kidnapped, that it would be Noah. So I was kind of pleased to hear that it was Noah who got voted out.
Right, because that was sort of validation that what you've heard was right, right? And there's sort of a place for you in Morgan. Not necessarily a place, but there might be some semblance of truth that you were told, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, so that was a pretty cut and dry vote, 6-1 to 1. The only person that didn't vote for Noah, that wasn't Noah, was Tea Leaf, who self-voted. If I recall, he had a super busy day. But
Mhm.
luckily, it didn't affect the vote. Which makes us to episode 7.
It's the most stress
Back-
I've ever game. Episode 7.
Back on script with Morgan winning yet another immunity.
Yes, sir.
This challenge was video trivia. And
What?
looking at the
Fire-
scores, Drake was the only one who didn't get a perfect score.
Yeah, baby.
Do you guys remember anything about this challenge?
Yes, I remember it very clearly. I was like, oh my god, we have to beat Drake. We're better than Drake. We're Outcast. We're better. Drake has to keep their streak going. And I was so happy when I saw, I think Joey and Thomas both got half a point off.
Damn,
I will say the outcasts were all Drake except for one, but we can skip by that. But
It was Drake
yeah,
Civil War.
one more time.
It was a Drake Civil War.
It was a Drake Civil War. So Joey, what happened here? It's 3 people at a tribal council, and it's not final immunity.
I'm
So what
literally
happened?
I'm at work the entirety of this that this happens. I text Tom. I don't even text DJ the entire vote because it's like because I voted him last tribal. Of course he's gonna vote for me again.
Right.
So I just plead my case to Thomas. He's like, I'm just gonna vote. I'm not gonna talk any strategy. I'm like, oh, that's reassuring. So all the votes come in. I'm literally sitting on a bucket at work. Like this is like the bucket of anxiety. That's what I call it now. So I think maybe like because me and Thomas had a really good like social connection together, and that like the SMM vote wasn't against me, it was just against SMM, and he still respected me after the vote. If you read his cons,
Okay.
he kind of keeps me in. So yeah, I think that's why he kept me in over DJ.
Okay. So
But this,
yeah.
this is like the most stressed I've ever been in an org. Just at this vote.
Well, it's a final. It's basically an equivalent to a final immunity, but nobody's immune, so everybody's on the table, which is crazy.
Yeah.
3-person vote. DJ goes 2-1. What I want to talk about real quick is that it seemed that there wasn't really any animosity for most of the Drake votes. It was mostly just you guys kept losing together, and you guys were you guys close at all? Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it kind of did felt like, you know, because pain brings people together more than anything.
Right. And Drake
So-
experienced a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Right.
So he did feel close, and yeah. But not gonna lie, I would have been kind of pissed if Thomas voted me off there. There would not have been animosity between me.
Well, the worst part about this vote is that this vote out doesn't go to the Outcasts, where the Outcasts were holding their own tribal council because the twist in Pro Islands was that the pre-merge, once voted out, would join the tribe of Outcasts. That was their tribe. And they would compete in a challenge. This was episode 7. If they got first place in the challenge, each tribe would have voted someone out, and the Outcasts would have voted 2 people back into the game. However, since Morgan won and the Outcast got second, that meant that the Outcast got to vote 1 person into the game that pretty much replaced DJ. So, SMM, you were an Outcast. What was happening here?
Well, when I first got in after the fire challenge, I was kind of mad. I was like, oh man, fire challenge. And no one, DJ and Sylvia were not DJ, Dino and Sylvia were making bets about who was going to get in next. And they're like, oh, we didn't expect this one. SMM's here. And from what I know, I was the first person to actually make DMs in Outcast.
You
Kind
were.
of shows.
I'll be
kinda
honest, we
shows.
didn't really think about that.
Really? Oh.
That was good of you. Yeah, so so as you guys know, you can request alliance chats within the server, and actually the Outcasts were sort of just talking in their tribe chat. Then when SMM joined, he started making one-on-ones with people, which we thought was really cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I made my first one with Dino because he seemed like, hey, if I'm gonna get anyone's vote, it's gonna be Dino. So I talked to
Okay.
Dino, made one with Sylvia. I made one with Slipknot, but he was inactive the whole time because he was on a camping trip, so I couldn't count on getting his vote. And then Noah came in. I talked to Noah a little bit when I was kidnapped, so I thought I could probably get his vote. Dino, I was leave Dino for last. Sylvia, I'm thinking that's the vote I'm the most proud of getting because of what happened when we were both in Drake
Right.
and she called me a freak and all that. I was like, yo, Sylvia, I'll give you my vote. And she says, oh yeah, sure. I get Dino's because he's like, if anyone should go in, it should be you, SMM. And then Noah, we kind of have a shared hatred for Claw.
Nice.
He was
What?
very
Why?
mad at Claw. My 4th message, I think, in my confessional was, hey, I want to vote Claw out because everyone likes Claw, so I want to get Claw out.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's
Which,
how I got
yeah.
Noah's vote.
So that leads
He
pretty
also
perfectly.
told me.
Oh, he did? What did he tell you?
He also told me about your alliance, Dan and A.
Claw did?
And yeah, I mean Noah did. I mean, yeah,
Oh,
Noah.
no.
Yeah, and he
I
told me
mean,
to
that
tell
is why he
Durkin
was voted
to-
out, so I guess that's fair. I think that leads
Yeah.
pretty perfectly. SMM came back into the game with the vote of 4-1. You could vote for anyone in return except for yourself. Everyone voted for SMM except for SMM, who had to vote for someone else. Why did
Oh,
you
yeah,
vote for
Slipknot.
Slipknot over anyone
I
else?
thought I was being smart there because everyone thought, oh, they're gonna give the vote to me. So they to make sure that they didn't try getting their more votes, I gave my vote to Slipknot, who was inactive, who came back and gave me his vote, which I thought was so cool because I showed him a little
What
bit
a
of
homie.
kindness in the first round, and he gave me his vote. And I just loved that.
Who wouldn't vote for Slipknot if given the opportunity?
I think the most stressful moment of Outcast was right before the vote. Dino starts having second thoughts. He's like, SMM, I have Sylvia's vote right now. I want you to give me your vote. I think I should go back in. You're not going to get far. And we start arguing in our one-on-one.
You should have just been
And
like,
he
yeah.
eventually
vote.
gives in and gives me his vote.
You should have been like,
Oh,
sure,
yeah.
bro, I'll vote for you. Just vote for me.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. Just trade votes.
But like, don't actually.
Either way, he
Yeah.
could have voted for anyone. He could have well, he can't self-vote, but it wouldn't have mattered because 4-1.
Oh, yeah,
Which-
what if? Oh my
Yeah.
God, the pro strategist did not vote anyone, so you get a self vote.
I don't know what we were talking about what would happen if that happened. I don't think we ever came to a conclusion on what would have happened if someone just didn't
I
vote.
think you just don't
I
get to
think-
vote. In my opinion.
Yeah, I think so. But if you plan around that, then it's like a strategy thing. So I don't know. We weren't
Mm.
fully prepared. So luckily, it didn't happen. But with SMM coming back into the game, we merged to the Morgan tribe. What are
Yeah,
your
we
guys' thoughts on the merge happening? I know Morgan has a lot more people here than Drake. Like a lot more. So what were your guys' thoughts on the first merge?
I think Dan and E should start since they have the most to say,
Mhm.
probably.
So when we finally merged, I was excited that we could start getting out some of these people who I had just become entirely sick of and was just really ready to start cutting loose. I was excited to reconnect with Joey because Joey and I he played in my first ever org that I participated in. And I did throw a challenge to vote him out, but after that, we had become friends. So I was really excited to connect with Joey, see where his head was at. But mostly, I was just excited to get to start going tribal, start stirring up some trouble, and start voting people out that I was just really sick of being with.
That's fair. Lee, how about you?
I just really wanted to get rid of Yugi because I was very annoyed with Yugi.
Okay.
Because I had competed in I was the only person on Morgan who competed in every challenge before the merge.
You guys kept
And
winning, so you needed to set a lot of people out, right?
yeah, and I feel like Yugi was a big part of that. I don't know why. I just blame him. Um, but yeah, Yugi annoyed me, so I wanted him to go because he was never online. He was very inactive, and the most conversation we really ever had was he invited me to join a cult, and which turned out to be an alliance with him. But like, what a weird way to start it off.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
so I wasn't really interested in working with most of Morgan much longer. And I think I should have done a much better job than I did of conveying that to Joey specifically because Joey was the main person that I wanted to work with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, I just flopped in that.
So it seemed like even though that Joey, SMM, and Thomas were in the minority tribe-wise, they were pretty impactful for helping sort out the disputes between the former Morgan, right?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, I mean unfortunately for Drake, first immunity challenge, Joey wins, and Thomas goes home in an 8-1. That's a pretty, not, it's almost, it's an almost unanimous first merge vote. So how did this happen?
So
It was your fault.
It was my fault. Wait, can you elaborate on that?
We were going to vote Yugi, and then you went insane.
Oh,
And
I
then-
say I overplayed really a lot in the first 2 rounds, which kind of makes my
Yeah.
whole merge game really. It's very bad, my merge game.
okay,
For-
so this was the dilemma. Miles wanted to go for either, I think it was no. Miles wanted to go for Thomas, and then Dan, Lee, and all them they wanted to go for Miles, right? Or you guys wanted to go for Miles or Yugi.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
my dilemma was trying to play both of these sides and landing on a target that isn't each other. So when Lee, you approached me to possibly go Thomas, I was on board for that because it would appease both my Miles side and my Dan Lee Claw side. So I was like, yeah, I'm on board for Thomas. Let's go on board for Thomas. And that makes the Drake tribe less intimidating with only three people. I mean, with only two people instead of three, making us making the Morgan tribe more willing to work with us because that's 2 free votes that I know Dan will love to use. So,
And I did.
Built different.
so yeah, I'm on board for Thomas. I tell SMM I know he is like dying to vote out Thomas after the fire making. So
Me?
yeah,
No.
I thought you'd
It
want
was the
Thomas.
opposite.
You didn't want
I
Thomas out?
was trying to save Thomas because I thought we needed the numbers for Drake. So I
All
talked to
three of you.
T-Leaf and Dirk. Because Noah told me to tell T-Leaf and Dirk that something about an alliance that was going on and not to trust people, which backfired hard on me, and Thomas got out.
So yeah, I was doing damage control with like SMM going batshit or whatever. Like I was talking to Dan. I was talking to Dan and Lee. I was like, oh, no, he's not normally like this. He's not normally like this. He's gonna be a cool ally. You just gotta trust this. We go Thomas, and yeah, it ended up being the Thomas vote because yeah, it satisfied both sides. But at the last minute, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get sneaky here. So I thought reading Dan, seeing how he plays, if he feels threatened, he's going to go into a self-preservation mode where he's going to act sooner. So I thought if I can put an extra vote on Dan and get his paranoia up, like maybe he'll act sooner and be more willing to work with us. So I throw a hinky vote on Dan.
I actually hate you, Joey. I hate you.
Yeah. And SMM caught all the heat for that. I was
Because of how erratic SMM's behavior was, I immediately thought, like, all right, who else is gonna put that throwaway vote? SMM. It just made too much sense in my head. And you're
Right.
right. I did get into that self-preservation mode where I was like, all right, I need to act now.
I tried my
And
hardest to prove it wrong.
Yeah,
That was a very good move from Joey. Joey, I will have to say that was a really good move to get Dan acting the way that you wanted to, and subsequently Lee and whoever else was with Dan at the time.
Yeah, it was a really good idea. Because that,
Yeah.
like, at first it was at SMM, and then eventually the suspicion moved to Miles, but it never went to you.
And like that kind of like led to Miles's, I guess, downfall in my eyes, because it did end up like me believing that Miles put that vote on me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of factors to Miles, but that was definitely one of them.
Okay. And there's so much talk about Miles, which leads us perfectly into episode 9. Episode 9, the challenge was cannonball juggling. They had to solve a puzzle while in their submission saying, I drop my cannonball, I catch my cannonball, within the time frame of a minute, to sort of keep the cannonball going while they solve the puzzle. Claw ended up winning immunity with a time of 7 minutes and 50 seconds, and Miles went home 8-1. This is a pretty easy vote.
This was the vote that made me most sad, because Miles was the only person who actually Miles approached me when I got kidnapped, and we had this whole plan. He was gonna throw a challenge. I think he tried, but Drake was just so bad that it didn't work out. And it was just sad to see him go, because I thought he was one of my closest allies. And Joey the whole time was saying that we need to turn on Miles. So I was like, wait, why are you saying this?
I wanted to turn on Miles because he was targeting Dan and Lee, and I knew Dan and Lee had like a lot more power than he did, and were also willing to work with us. And so like I did at one point see like, are you guys willing? Like if I was gonna get the numbers to go like Yugi or something, but then I was talking to everyone. Everyone seemed on board for Miles. I didn't want to like push for anything. The numbers just weren't there. I wasn't gonna try to make sure they were there. I was like, we're gonna dump Miles. We're gonna stick with this SMM. With this Dan Lee Claw group or whatever for these next few votes, and yeah, that's how it went.
Awesome. I think that leads us pretty cleanly in episode 10. Only a few episodes left. On episode 10, we had touchy subjects, which I want to talk about a little bit challenge-wise, because touchy subjects is always pretty impactful. I think the most impactful answers: who is in most control of the game? The correct answer was Lee. Who do you trust with your life? Again, Lee. Who is the hero of the season? Lee and Joey.
Lee.
And who will you continue to talk to after the game ends? Lee and Dan. The reason I wanted to talk about the answers was... One more time?
Just give me a second.
The reason I wanted to talk about these answers was because touchy subjects showed a lot of people that, just who Lee was. Lee, what was going through your mind when we're reading through the challenge results and you're so many of these answers?
Words that I do not say.
Words that you do not say. What kind of words do you not say?
Curse words.
Curse words. Would you like to give any examples?
No.
I figured I would
It's
try.
only us here, D.
I figured I would try.
Yeah, I was like, holy heck, this is not good.
It certainly wasn't. You were half the answers, and pretty much every single positive answer was you.
Yeah, I was like, oh, so I'm probably gonna go home tonight or the next vote. I was surprised when it took one more vote for me to go.
Lee lived past her own expiration date that she set for herself.
Apparently.
This kind of
for the first question, I thought Joey was controlling the game, which I knew was like a weird answer, but just the position that he'd gotten himself into, everyone liked him, everyone wanted to work for him or to work with him, and no one seemed to think he was a threat. There was always, oh well, Joey can go later. So when I was like thinking about the answer to that question, that was the first time I realized. I was like, I think Joey could get to the end. And if he gets to the end, he's probably going to win.
Well, it's funny you say that because everyone answered Lee except for you, who said Joey, and SMM, who said Dan.
Yeah, I thought Dan was controlling it, mostly because the way he was talking to me. He had a lot of confidence, I thought. So I figured he was leading the Morgans.
Dan, what were you thinking here?
This kind of like solidified to me seeing all those answers that if I actually wanted to win this game, I could never sit next to Lee. Because she's social queen. Everyone likes her. You can't say a bad word about her. and just seeing all those answers and how everyone had the same perception of Lee that I have of Lee, it just really solidified that at some point I was going to have to make a move with Joey and SMM, who I still didn't really trust at this point. No offense, SMM.
It's fine.
But yeah, that's what I got out of Touchy Subjects, that Lee was the biggest threat in my eyes. That if Lee gets to that final two, she wins in a cakewalk against anybody.
Right, and I think something else that's super important from Touchy Subjects was one of the questions. If the game ended right now, who would get second place? The correct
Yeah.
answer for that question was Dan. That seems like a very clear wake-up call, right? Especially with Lee getting all of the positive answers.
Yeah, that also showed me that everyone seeing me is second fiddle to Lee or second fiddle to Dirk, whatever. Like, that just really showed me that I'm not getting a lot of respect for the game I'm playing, and that I need to change my position in where I'm at, which is what I did with the next vote, the claw vote, but we're not there yet. But it really did wake me up and get the wheels in motion to make the Build Different alliance.
Okay.
And I will say, though, also about being the answers, was I was actually very surprised how often I was the right answer. I did not think that I was going to be the right answer to most of those questions.
So you said you were surprised. Do you think you were surprised because you didn't think you were playing to the level that other people saw, or that?
Yeah.
What made you more surprised? Pretty much that?
Yeah, I wasn't trying. I'm never really trying to be in control of the game because I don't see the point in that. Like trying to control the whole game.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
Is it? Maybe I'll try it one day.
It's fun.
But yeah, so I was very surprised specifically that I was the answer for that because I've never expected to be the answer for anything like that.
That's totally fair. And then the last thing important about Touchy Subjects was who abstained. Yugi abstained, which was a common theme for Yugi. Yugi either sat out at the challenges at Morgan. I don't think he competed in a merge challenge. I think he's abstained from all three.
I'm pretty sure he did.
I'm pretty sure challenge for the whole season.
He did compete in one challenge for the whole season. Wait, was that the one that you guys lost? Hold up. Episode 6.
No, it was not. I wish it was.
No, that would be hilarious. But Yugi competed in one challenge throughout the whole season, and interestingly enough, the vote here was 6-1. The one Tea Leaf throwing a vote on the SMM. But besides that, this seems pretty cut and dry, right? Like, was there?
I really thought
what
that
was
vote
happening
was
here?
from Dan. Like the first thing I saw, that was the first vote out. I was like, oh my god, Dan actually did it. He put the votes on me. And I accused him in his one-on-one. And then I saw it was all on Yugi, and I said sorry.
I was on voice call with Lee, and she mentioned going Yugi. I was like, yeah, I didn't mind going Yugi because inactive makes it more fun getting rid of the inactives.
I will say, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that was a huge reason why he left. Due to him being inactive, he was very enticing final two GOAT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why there's the vote on SMM from T, because T, Dan, and I were supposed to be in an alliance of sorts.
But T wanted Yugi in that final two so badly.
Yeah. Well, he wanted him in the final 4, and then he was talking to me. He was like, "Well, he could just replace Dan in the final 3 if you want." I was like, "Okay," so then he's replacing me in the final 2. Great.
Right. Yeah. I think I don't know if this is. I don't know Yugi that well, but I will say in their exit interview, we held the exit interviews in Ponderosa. Yugi said he was eliminated because he was by far the greatest threat. And I don't know if that's him playing a character, if you believe that. Did you guys see him as a threat?
No.
Not really, but I did look to
really
imagine
funny.
that he was had this really crazy game going on just in his cons, and that he was gonna.
Lee would say that to me all the time.
I know. I didn't think it was true, but I really wanted it to be true because I wanted to go through and read some great thing. But
didn't he try to recruit people to a cult or whatever? I heard that.
Yeah.
They won, right?
Yeah.
A few times.
Yeah, there was a couple of times he mentioned cults to me.
The Yugi cult. Unfortunately, the cult leader dies here in episode 10, which brings us to episode 11. Dirk wins immunity for the second time in a row. And Claus voted out in a 5-2 vote. Yes, SMM?
No, I was looking at the wrong column. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. So what happened with this claw vote? Because I will say, it's been a murder of Morgan these last few votes, and this is
Uh-huh.
just about the halfway point of the murder of Morgan. We're still not done yet. So what happens with the claw vote here?
All right.
I don't know about.
Can I go, or you
Yeah.
want to go, Joey?
Yeah.
So here, my thought process for this was Tea Leaf was left out of the Yugi vote, and he was a little miffed about it. He was upset about it, and almost as soon as that vote was over, Dirk takes the initiative and he creates an alliance between myself, Lee, and Claw. So to me, that this is the perfect time to make a move and recruit T, who feels as if he's on the bottom of the Morgan Alliance, which he was, and then use my relationship with Joey. And then I'm still a little weary of SMM at this point. And then bring the four of us together. And my original target was Dirk, but the consensus of the group was to end up on Claw. It wouldn't have mattered anyway since Dirk did win that immunity. But yeah, that was my perspective on bringing up Built Different Squad here.
So
Yeah,
who
and
is the Built Different squad? Sorry to interrupt, Joey, but who is the Built Different squad?
It's me, Tea Leaf, Joey, and SMM. Your Pearl Island Final Four.
How are
They
you
look
guys built
different.
different?
We just were. That's the whole point.
You just
Yeah.
were? Okay, my
You
apologies for
just-
questioning your build. Joey, I believe you had something?
Oh yeah, yeah. For the claw vote, I had been like wanting him out literally since like the final 9 because Miles told me that he wanted me out for some reason at the beginning. Like I know he like changed his mind all the time or whatever, but like even like he threw out my name at one point, so I was always like suspicious of him. I was like, yeah, let's get him out, and he won that one puzzle challenge, so I was even more like dead set on getting him out. But I felt bad because he apparently had been like wanting to play this for a while.
Okay.
I didn't feel bad. But
By the way, I have to start my speed org in about like 5 minutes. Like I'll still be here, but like I won't be talking as much.
All good. Which brings us to episode 12. Dirk wins his third individual immunity in a row. Also, at this point, he ties the record for most immunity wins, both individual and tribe, in this org's history. I believe at
Yeah.
8.
9. He
9.
he actually has the record.
Right, he beat the record. Right, he's at 9 wins because Morgan just dominated the pre-merge, and then he won 3 immunities here. And this vote looks to be heartbreaking.
This was the hardest vote for me and probably any of my orgs, to be completely honest.
Talk us through it, Dan. Lee goes in a 4-2. 4 votes for Lee, 2 votes for Joey. What happens here?
So, Built Different Squad had just tested their allegiances at our first vote together. We took out Claw. Here, I wanted Dirk. There is no instance where I wanted Lee unless Dirk wins immunity. And Dirk won immunity, and I knew taking out Joey it just wouldn't be good for my game at this point because I knew Dirk was still uneasy with me. He didn't trust me all that much. I didn't feel like I had a lot of shelf life going along with any plan with Dirk and Lee at this point. And I, like I said before, from touchy subjects, in my head, like at this point in the game, Lee's the biggest threat to win. She's so likable. She's awesome. Everyone enjoys her. Everyone loves her. And she's played a good game. So I just knew I had to take her out here. And it was tough. As you can see my cons, it was bittersweet because from the minute I landed in Pearl Islands, I was like, ow, I'm taking the knife that Lee put in my back and I'm putting it in her back. It's like there was like some poetic justice to it. But it was definitely a very, very hard vote for me.
Dirk wouldn't have went home if he won immunity. If he didn't win immunity. And I'll tell you why. Me and I talked to SMM about this. My biggest fear was the final 5 vote was the 3 Drakes teaming up on the 3 Morgans teaming up on the 3 Drakes before we could all get we could both get the final 4. So I go up to Dirk and I make a deal. I was like, if you're gonna be targeted by the other tribe, by the other people if you don't win immunity here. So here's my deal. Me and SMM will make sure we will go to Roxview at this vote to make sure you guys, Dirk, that you stay. If at the final 5 vote you make sure that a Drake stays in. So I made that deal with him. But then the deal died when he won immunity, and he couldn't say that me and him, like me and SMM, were the people that helped him stay in.
Okay. Lee, what was going through your head here? This is an unfortunate vote, to say the least, for you.
Yeah, I mean, I felt mostly okay until not too long before Tribal, but then I was talking to T, and T kind of gave it away. He was just not. His answers were very weird. He would just like do little ellipses and
Okay.
not respond, just ellipses and responses are like an ellipses and then, okay, yeah. That was his response to anything I said. So I was getting a little uneasy, but he was also kind of like grumpy with me. Still over the Yugi vote, or at least was pretending to be.
He was pretending. He wasn't actually mad at you.
Yeah, I remember like seeing after the season that he wasn't mad, but I was worried about pushing him and that going back up. And then the best moment of the season, Joey was on voice chat with a bunch of sticks who did not have permission to speak, or like did not have the permissions to speak. So I jump on because I was just going to see what he was doing or chatting about, and he just goes silent. And he says nothing. I was like, oh, okay, so I'm going home. Sounds great.
I was talking to Scooby about it. I was like, he's like, Joey, why are you paranoid? I was like, because I'm getting 2 votes from Lee and Dirk, and I'm supposed to be voting them tonight. And then I just hear like a notification that says Lee comes on. I'm like, and I just don't know what to say. I'm like, how do I change the topic so suddenly? I was like, yeah, man, this sucks for Tea Leaf, bro. I can't believe he's going right now. I didn't know what to say.
It was, yeah, you were. I think there was like a good 30 seconds or more of just utter silence.
Unfortunately. Wait, so you did convince Dirk to vote with you. What was behind that?
Well, I thought that at this point, the more I talked to people, Joey was in every single person's plan. There was not a person that I spoke to who didn't have Joey in their plan.
Okay.
Including Dirk. But I told him, I was like, everyone has Joey in their plan. And everyone seems to think that there's ample time to get rid of Joey, but how do you know that time's not running out? So he seemed to be fine with that, and he voted with me. And I said on my parchment that if you don't go now, you're going to win. So maybe I have like really good instincts.
Someone's instincts were definitely correct, and I remember that parchment, and I, as a spectator, was thinking there's no way people see that and let Joey continue. But either way, episode 13, Joey ends up winning immunity to hush all the people who thought the same thing that I did. Dirk goes home in a 4-1 vote. Considering it's built different plus Dirk, was this just get the built different squad to Final Four? Was that what this was?
Get Dirk out before he wins the challenge. Another one.
Actually, me and T had talked after the Lee vote. Me
Gotcha.
and Dirk had got right after the Lee vote. Me and Dirk got into it pretty bad. We got into a fight, whatever, and then T ended up talking to him, and we started mapping out, realizing that Joey was a huge threat. And if Joey hadn't won immunity, we would have rolled our dice. I believe me and T would have rolled our dice with Dirk to take Joey out. Dirk did make a chat with the 3 of us, me, him, and T Leaf. We discussed it. But as soon as Joey won immunity, there was no discussion between me and T about
I was so confused
teaming up with Dirk to take out SMM.
Yeah, I was surprised you guys didn't do that. I was like, SMM's like, we got this. I'm like, dude, you're probably fucked here, and you don't even realize it. Because no way they let both Drakes make Final Four. Like, that was always my ultimate fear, was the Final 5 vote. And I lose if I go home if I don't win that Final 5 immunity, right? Probably.
Yeah, you would have went home.
Let's go. Oh, this is another challenge that I hacked because it was like searching for commands.
Yeah, it was a scavenger hunter on the server.
Hmm.
Joey
the hack master.
So I went around the server, found all the commands first, and then I did the challenge.
Nothing wrong with that. Play smart, right?
Mm.
I like it. So, as soon as Dirk loses, he gets sniped. and then we have Final Four as the Valiant Built Different squad.
Oh yeah, two
Yes,
Drake,
sir.
two
And now
Morgan.
this is where all the heat from Dan and Joey's rivalry from last season they played together all culminates and comes to a perfect crescendo. So Tea Leaf wins immunity at Final Four,
Yeah.
and it's a 2-2 vote. What happens here? What happens here? This is a crazy vote. Can you guys explain it?
And you can take the
Dan
lead.
should
I'm
probably
starting.
explain
I'm
his.
Yeah. So going into it, obviously I wasn't voting anyone other than Joey at this tribal unless Joey happened to win, then SMM would have got my vote.
Oh.
But I wasn't taking Tea Leaf out here. I wanted Tea Leaf in the final two. But yeah, so T comes to me early that day before the challenge starts. He's like, Dan, like I talked to SMM. Like SMM sees what we're saying, that Joey's the biggest threat here, and he's gonna vote with us. And I was skeptical of it, of course. They've been with each other since pretty much day one, except for the couple of days where SMM was voted out. But as the day went on and I talked to SMM, started to believe it, got lulled into a false state of security. And as I was getting down to the vote, kind of realized there's a decent chance we were going to fire, but just that hope in me. I was really thought SMM was going to pull through and pull the trigger on Joey, but nope. Straight to the fire making challenge. And honestly, I couldn't have picked a better ending for mine and Joey's story, to be completely honest. I mean, me winning would have been the better ending, but going head to head with Joey, the meme he made, like it was cool. It was definitely cool.
So,
Unlike-
like he said, the meme was like, I'm pretty sure it was your two's faces in a boxing ring.
Yeah.
That was pretty epic. I mean, I remember being on production at that time with Jack and May, and we were all so hyped for this. This was it. This was two friends, two rivals coming to a head in fire making. So, what was the fire making challenge?
It was
It was
a
you gotcha.
jigsaw, despite me playing slide puzzles all day in preparation.
So,
Oh yeah.
who ended up winning this? So it's pretty clear, but who ended up winning this?
Joe the Show.
Joe the Show did win. This was such an epic duel. And Dan, how far were you in the jigsaw?
I was nowhere near done.
Okay.
I'm notoriously bad. I'm notoriously bad at challenges, so I knew my
can
number was
confirm that.
mugged.
He's
Yeah.
not good.
I think you
Yeah.
even said somewhere like, if it goes to fire, I just lose anyways.
Oh yeah, 100%. I knew like my number was punched. That didn't mean I wasn't gonna try because I did try, but yeah, Joe the Show took down Dan the Man.
Which makes
Final
the
four.
final three SMM, Joey, and Tea Leaf. So this was an interesting day. This is the finale episode, by the way. So we were going to do an endurance challenge. Then they're all whining and complaining, and I don't want to do endurance, and you know how
I had a
it goes.
physics test. Come on.
SMM, sure.
I
So
can show you the grade.
So after seeing that endurance wasn't going to work, I came up with another challenge, and I was quite proud of it. That was the easier version of what I wanted to send you. They made me send an easier version. It was basically a 300-piece jigsaw with rectangular pieces. They wouldn't let me make them rotating, which was unfortunate. But that was the plan. And
Jesus.
unfortunately, Tea Leaf was having a tough time, and he was going through some things in his life. And instead of doing a challenge, we ended up having a verbal tribal council on the spot. SMM and Joey, what were you guys thinking at this point?
I'm kind of, should I just vote Joey out now and take TD with me? Because I knew TD in the final three, from the final four vote, I knew I was only going to win with TD. But I put my vote on Dan, and it was like a balance between loyalty and strategy there, and I chose Joey over possibly, very small chance of muting a challenge of winning. And then I was thinking about in the final three, what would happen if I put my vote on Joey, and then TD probably would have voted with me. I could have. I'm not even sure if that was allowed, but yeah, I voted Joe. TD.
Okay. Joey, how about you here? What happened? What was going through your head with this?
What's going through my? Holy shit! I'm getting pinged. Sorry, I'm like multitasking right now.
It's all good.
What's going through my head is I was just gonna let him quit if he did, but it was sad that he did.
Okay.
I wanted to keep him in personally because like I felt like it wouldn't have been very. I wanted him to stay in, try his best, and then go in knowing that he tried his best. Or even if he won, actually, if he won, that he tried his best there. But Joey was like, "Nah, dude, just then go out. We can go final two." I'm like, all right, that makes sense.
That leads us perfectly to final tribal council. Joey and SMM. What were your guys' plans going in the final tribal council? Let's start with SMM.
Well, I got 7-0, my pin didn't work, but I
Clearly.
wanted to emphasize my Outcast game and pre-merge game because I felt like if you compare like pre-merge and merge for me, I did very well, even with my crazy strategy, as you guys said. In pre-merge, it worked. Then in merge, I kind of screwed myself over with it, especially in the first two rounds. And I don't think the jury saw my game the way I thought I saw it.
Okay. Joey, do you remember what you were thinking going in the final tribal council?
I was really worried because SMM, he was more out there strategically.
Okay. The result speaks to a blowout. Joey getting all 7 of the votes. Lee and Dan, you guys were on the jury. What was in Ponderosa and when the final tribal council started? What were you looking for from each person, and what determined the 7-0 vote?
I feel like going into it, most of the people in Ponderosa already had kind of written off SMM, which to me was unfair. But a lot of them came in thinking that Joey spearheaded it all and that their votes were locked up on him. So for me, really, going in, I just wanted to give SMM a chance to kind of be able to tell the people the game that he was playing, because I do think he played a good game, SMM. But when it did come down to it, I felt like I had to give the nod to Joey because he took me out in that challenge. So had to pay my respects in that sense.
That makes sense. I feel that. Okay. That brings us to a nice close of the season. Joey wins in a pretty clean 7-0. Pretty great underdog story, especially considering the decimation of Drake pre-merge, then the dismantling of Morgan post-merge, to having 2 Drakes in final tribal council. Was really interesting was the final 3. It was a Morgan, an Outcast, and a Drake. That's some representation from anywhere. It was a super close season. So I have a few quick questions. Unless, final thoughts on the season before then?
It was
a fun season.
It was good.
It was fun. I had a good time.
Glad to hear that.
I'm glad with all y'all.
I'm glad you guys all got to play together too. There were some great moments. And so leading off the back of the great moments, on our server we rank each season. We try to do it as objectively as possible by where we think it is in relation to other seasons. So right now the Australian Outback is our number 1 rated season with a 9.4 out of 10, followed by Marquesas, which is the best season, with a 9.1 out of 10. Pearl Islands is sitting in 3rd place with an 8.8. Where do you guys think Pearl Island should be? Where would you guys rate Pearl Islands and why?
Number 1.
I even said before, once we got out, I was like, Pearl Island should be ranked at least number 2. But then we got ranked number 3, and I was like, oh, that's sad.
Why should it be ranked number 1 over Australian Outback and Marquesas?
I feel like we just had the best story, 2 Drakes, make it all the way to the final tribal council, beating up the Morgans, throwing them in a box, shipping them off to like some weird country.
Okay. What about Lee and Dan? Where do you think they should be ranked? We've had 6 seasons so far. You guys are smack dab in the middle at 3rd place.
I haven't watched any of the other seasons, respect any of them.
Yeah.
So
Nor have I.
yeah,
We
so
should
it's a
just rank
little
this one
hard for
number
me
one
to
because we were
judge.
involved.
Yeah, we were involved, and I feel like there were a lot of big characters, and like SMM said, like the storyline was just. I can imagine watching this play out on TV and screaming at my TV at the Morgans, like, you guys are idiots. Take Joey out. He is right there. But yeah, I think we should be ranked number 1.
I think we compared it. I compared it to like Tocantins with like the JT and Steven story.
Right.
Yeah.
It was pretty iconic, and I will say, we're recording this on Sunday. The Australian Outback podcast thing comes out tomorrow, and if you listen to it, that is an iconic season.
Mhm.
But this was definitely close. I mean, rated 0.1 above Borneo. Borneo was also a super great season, but it was definitely a great season. It was definitely a good one to watch. We had great players, good competition. There was never really, especially post-merge, like there was a lot of stuff happening at all times. So, last question I'm asking each one of you is, what future advice would you give to a player who wants to play in this org or in orgs in general? What would you tell them?
I feel like the winner should go first if he's not previously occupied with responding to things.
Joey.
Any advice? Shit. Don't be too out there, and don't be too not out there.
So right in the middle?
Yep, right in the middle. Always look for the cracks, and always let the other person make the move first. On your side.
On your side, okay.
Mhm.
Some good advice. Let's go down the list. So SMM?
Well, my strategy was kind of stuffed. It was kind of weird. I was doing stuff a lot, sometimes too much, most of the times too much. It kind of worked out, seeing as I got the final 2, but seeing as I was also considered for a lot of votes, my advice is be patient, look for the cracks, like Joey said. ED is actually the one who told me to look for cracks as well, multiple times, and I didn't do that. Okay, that's my advice. Also, if you're ever in a final 2 with me, just throw the game.
SMM is asking for pity in a final tribal council. Good to know. Dan?
You made it sound weird, okay? I'm just gonna. Okay. No.
Thank you. Dan, you still there? I guess not, but I think what Dan's going to say, and I think this is pretty accurate for Dan's character, and he just lagged out of the call, was that what Dan prioritized a lot was having fun, and I think that pretty much anyone that watched or has played with him can pretty much say that Dan has fun when he plays. Would you guys agree?
Yes,
Dan was
100%.
the best villain. I swear, even just hearing him talk about the game, I was like, they gave me chills. I was like, oh my god, dude, he knew what he was doing.
Mr. Illuster.
Yeah. I love that about Dan. Dan knew what he wanted to be, and he was that 100%. And I loved it.
This season was like his nightmare because he doesn't like to play with children, and he considers 17 and under children.
Uh-oh.
So that was really amusing.
I'm one child Dan can play with, and I'll take that with
You
pride.
are. You and Cream Cheese are the only people he'll tolerate.
Dan's confessionals were hilarious because he was very clearly not a fan of the younger people on his tribe. And as I say that, Dan, are you back with us?
Yeah, I'm back.
Awesome. So what's one piece of advice you'd give the future players?
Stay away from kids.
Stay away from kids. That's pretty much what we just said.
Well, he's gonna learn. Yeah, he's gonna learn before he plays his next org, which is Kid Nation.
No. Enough with that. The advice I would give is have fun, ham it up, use your confessionals, make yourself into a character, and really just rock out and have a good time with it.
Right, and I think one of the reasons Dan was so beloved by the spectators was you and Lee especially, you guys used your confessional. So did Joey. Everyone used, and we love when we can. A season's so great when everyone is, they're either themselves or like Dan, a complete character that they love being. And it's so much fun when you guys use your confessionals and really embrace everything about the game. So that brings
That's my favorite part of orgs.
Oh, it's so much fun. So Lee, end us off here. What advice would you give the people who are looking to play in orgs, or specifically this one, maybe?
I will say just like a few general things. Well, one, you talked about like making use of your confessionals. Not only does that make the experience a lot more fun, like it totally does, but I think it also helps you think through think through what's going on. Because if you see it in writing, I always type out my cons, I post them, and then I read through them to see if what I'm thinking makes sense and am I overthinking. And I think that can be very helpful. Check in with everyone on your tribe at least once a day, even if they don't respond because they're Yugi. Just send everyone one message. Just say, hi, how are you? See how they're doing, and try to get to know at least one thing about everyone on a personal level. And also, something that I saw in this game, convince the correct people that you're not a threat. I got to the jury and I found out that the whole jury thought I was like not playing the game. And then everyone left in the game thought I was.
Right, you were on that tipping scale of the people who knew you were a big threat, but the people who didn't know your existence, and that was a weird tipping scale for you.
Weirdly, the
Yes.
jury liked me, which I didn't expect really. I thought they would be like all pissed at like Drake or whatever for like sneaking past.
Oh no, they were all like rooting for you.
I don't mind it.
Awesome. So thank you guys for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Cool.
This was
Yeah,
our
thank you for
last
inviting me.
episode before All Stars starts. I hope that the people watching and potentially the people on this call are ready for that season. It should be a fun one. Any
Mhm.
final thoughts before we leave off?
Drake Trap Gang.
No, I just want to thank you and the rest of the hosts
Yeah,
for
thank you.
having us all and creating a really fun org and helping create such a great season in Survivor Pro Islands.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys. And with that, thanks for watching.